Yo, what is up guys? Dubois here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, over the last couple of days, the mega card in Saudi Arabia has taken a few hits, let's say. Of course, earlier this week, Shakur Stevenson's opponent, Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield, pulled out of their fight with an illness. And he was subsequently replaced by an electrician called Josh Padley, who's not a full-time boxer. Unbeaten guy, coming off a good win over Mark Chamberlain. But late replacement, coming down in weight from 140. Very, very substandard replacement for Shakur Stevenson. But at the time, could you really criticise it? It's like a few days out. Probably not right. However, Daniel Dubois has pulled out against Joseph Parker 2 days before the fight. Joseph Parker looks for an opponent. Turki Al-Sheikh says to Joe Parker, Martin Bakole's raised his hand. Do you want this fight? Yeah, why not? Joseph Parker is now fighting Martin Bakole on 2 days' notice. Kind of exposes Shakur a little bit for not taking a stronger opponent. Surely there was a better guy than Josh Padley or Jack Padley, whatever this dude's name is. Surely, right? I know there's the element of making weight and whatnot, I get it. But, and obviously that's not the case at heavyweight, so there is scope to get better opponents. If a guy pulls out, I get that, but Josh Padley, really? I think that really says it all in regards to Shakur. But yeah, so Dubois pulled out against Joe Parker due to an illness, feeling unwell apparently. And yeah, the replacement is Martin Bakole. Now, you know, last minute replacement, is he going to be ready? Is he not? Out of anybody in the heavyweight division, I feel like it probably doesn't matter when it comes to Bakole, because we see this guy turn up out of shape he's turned up out of shape in the vast majority of his fights, you know, sometimes weighing close to 300 pounds, you know, but he seems to get a job done. Seems to be able to apply relentless pressure, punches in bunches, working on the inside, going from body to head, really taking risks, you know. He just seems to be one of those guys that's always ready to fight, no matter what his condition is. So you look at Bakole, and he's probably the ideal late replacement for a heavyweight fight. And it's a different dynamic for Joe Parker in many ways. But having said that, you know, I say that, but I'm assuming that Joe Parker's been training for a guy who's going to apply pressure, because Dubois in his last few fights has applied pressure, throwing a lot of punches. You know, we saw the fight with Hrgovic, Jarrell Miller, Anthony Joshua. Dubois was very aggressive in all of these fights, and I'm assuming that's what Joe Parker was training for. And again, Bakole's going to be uber aggressive. He's going to be very aggressive in this fight. He's going to try and close the distance on Parker, work that body, get close, maul him, you know, try and drag him into exchanges and try and drown him, basically. So I think he's been training for that sort of fight anyway. So for Parker, it kind of makes sense as well, because again, that's what you've been training for. But I really like the fight on paper, man. I do. Is Parker's boxing going to be able to offset Bakole? Is he going to be able to get Bakole's respect? Because Bakole's that sort of guy where if you can't get this guy's respect, he is just going to keep on coming, and he's going to try and walk through you. He's that sort of guy. He's that big marauding heavyweight who throws a lot of punches and makes it really rough in there. He really does big man you. We saw that with the Jared Anderson fight. I think Parker in this bout needs to utilise his foot speed more than anything. He's got a foot speed advantage on Martin Bakole, and he needs to box this one, I think, and take it into the second half, because that's one thing we don't really know about Bakole yet, is the gas tank. You know, he faded in his only loss to Michael Hunter, and I know he was injured in that fight, but he looked very tired as well. Since then, he's kind of had his fights all his own way. He's not really been extended, and I think that will be key for Joe Parker. It is to extend this fight. Again, maybe Bakole, despite never turning up in shape, maybe he's in even less optimal condition for this one. So Parker needs to try to exploit that and try to ask those questions, but at the same time, he can't be too passive early on. He does need to give Bakole something to think about. He does need to chip something away from Bakole and don't let it have all his own way early on. But I think he should be somewhat passive early on, Parker, but still make sure to, try to land here and there, try to get the respect of Bakole. But I do think stylistically it's a hard fight for Parker, especially considering how we saw him struggle with the pressure of Joe Joyce. Even Chisora, in their first fight, Parker can be kind of outgunned, outmanned. We have seen that in his career to an extent against Dillian Whyte as well. My question really surrounding Bakole is, what type of shape is he in? But, stylistically it's a good fight, kind of like the boxer versus the brawler come forward guy. The aggressor should be a good fight. I'm not making a pick on this one because of how this fight has come about, last minute. All I'll say is this: if this fight were to be made where both fighters had a full camp, I would pick Bakole. But that isn't the case here, so I will, sit out on this one and not make a prediction. All I really want here is a good fight. All I want is a good fight, and hopefully we get that. But, credit to Bakole, man, for turning up 2 days' notice. And massive credit to Joseph Parker as well for taking this fight on 2 days' notice. Because, Parker's really kind of resurrected his career to the point to where, he's rebuilt himself, he's made himself a contender again. He could have tried to kind of angle for an easier opponent like Shakur, but he hasn't done that. He's not trying to hold on to his rankings and get another fight with Dubois or get that fight rescheduled to fight for a title. No, he's fighting a top 10 dangerous contender in Bakole, and a fight in which I'm sure most people are picking Parker to lose. That's the impression I get from the initial reactions. Joe Parker, I've had criticisms of this guy in the past, but the level of competition that he's willing to face speaks for itself. And here is another example. So listen, credit to Joseph Parker, also credit to Martin Bakole for stepping up. But anyway, share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Delboy. Peace.